This is not just a sitcom. It is a show that changed television forever. 6 people, 1 apartment, and a coffee shop. And suddenly the world couldn't stop watching them. But what happened after the camera stopped is far more unpredictable than the show itself. Some lives turned into massive Hollywood success stories. Some faded away from the spotlight completely. And one journey ended in a way fans still struggle to accept. Don't forget to subscribe to Screen Rewind for more cast stories like this. Now let's go back and see what really happened to them. Number 1. Rachel Green, Jennifer Aniston. She walked in as a runaway bride with no plan for life. But she walked out as one of the most iconic women in TV history. Rachel Green became a global fashion symbol, a character that shaped trends, careers, and even pop culture for years. After the show ended, Jennifer Aniston stepped into Hollywood's biggest spotlight. Movies, interviews, awards, everything followed her. But behind all of that success, there was pressure most people never saw. Because no matter how many roles she played, the world always saw her as Rachel first. That identity became both her biggest strength and her biggest challenge. And even today, years later, fans still connect her real life with that one character. But the next story is completely different, because the second journey took a quieter turn. Number 2. Monica Geller, Courteney Cox. She was the perfectionist, always clean, always organized, always in control. But real life did not stay that controlled. After the show, Courteney Cox continued working in Hollywood, but slowly stepped away from constant spotlight pressure. She focused more on producing and selective acting roles. What many people don't know is she also faced emotional struggles during her post-Friends years, especially while adjusting to life outside a global hit series. The character Monica was loud, competitive, and always strong on screen. But in real life, Courteney often chose a quieter, more private path. And here is the twist. One of the most in-control characters in sitcom history came from someone who learned that real life cannot always be controlled. And that contrast is what makes her journey so unexpected. Number 3. Joey Tribbiani, Matt LeBlanc. He was the funny one. The one who never overthought anything. And the one who believed every problem could be solved with a smile and a simple line. How you doing? That single line became a global identity. After the show ended, Matt LeBlanc didn't rush into Hollywood like everyone expected. Instead, he slowed down. He stepped back from the spotlight for a while. Then, he returned with a new version of himself. More mature, more grounded, and more selective about roles. What most fans don't realize is his career after Friends was not an instant explosion like others. It was a slow rebuild. But here's the unexpected part. Even though Joey looked like the most carefree character, his real-life journey became one of the most carefully managed comebacks in the entire group. And that contrast makes his story feel very different from what people expected. Number 4. Chandler Bing, Matthew Perry. He was the sarcastic one. The one who always had a joke ready, even in serious moments. But behind that humor, Matthew Perry was fighting battles that fans didn't fully see at the time. Chandler Bing became one of the most loved characters in television history. But after the show, Matthew's real life became more complicated than anyone imagined. He continued acting, writing, and sharing his experiences later in life, opening up about personal struggles that lasted for years. What makes his story so emotional is this. The character who always made others laugh was also the one carrying the heaviest hidden pain in real life. And that contrast left a deep impact on fans, even long after Friends ended. Because sometimes, the funniest person in the room is not the happiest. And that truth changes how people look at Chandler forever. Number 5. Ross Geller, David Schwimmer. He was the serious one, the nerdy brother, the man who always thought he was right, even when he wasn't. But Ross Geller became something much bigger than just a funny character. He became the emotional center of the entire show. His story with Rachel, the on and off relationship, it wasn't just a subplot anymore. It became a global obsession. After Friends ended, David Schwimmer didn't chase constant fame like others. He chose a quieter path. He focused more on directing and behind-the-camera work. Less spotlight, more control over his life. But here's something interesting. Even though Ross was often laughed at for his mistakes, his character ended up becoming one of the most emotionally complex roles in sitcom history. And fans still debate one thing even today. Was Ross actually right in the end? Or was he just unlucky in love from start to finish? That question alone kept his character alive for years after the show ended. And the next story takes a completely different emotional direction. Number 6. Phoebe Buffay, Lisa Kudrow. She was the most unpredictable one. Strange songs, weird humor, and a personality no one could ever fully understand. Phoebe Buffay didn't follow normal rules, and that is exactly why fans loved her. After Friends, Lisa Kudrow continued acting and producing, building a strong career in both comedy and creative projects. But Phoebe's character had something deeper underneath all the jokes. A backstory filled with loss, independence, and survival. She wasn't just the funny, weird friend. She was someone who built her own world after facing early life trauma. And that's what made her different. While others represented ambition, romance, or success, Phoebe represented resilience in a completely unexpected way. And even today, fans say one thing about her character. She never felt like she belonged in the real world. And yet, she understood life better than anyone else in the group. There was one more face people always saw, but never truly noticed. He wasn't part of the main circle. He wasn't in their apartment. He wasn't in their love stories. But he was there. Every single day, serving coffee, watching everything, and silently living a story no one talked about. He was the man behind the counter at Central Perk. And here's the surprising truth. His character looked like background support, but in reality, he appeared in every season of the show. And behind that quiet role, there was a real emotional layer too. He represented something simple, unnoticed love, silent presence, and life watching from the outside. While others moved forward in life, he stayed in the same place, observing everything change around him. And that makes his presence one of the most overlooked parts of the entire Friends universe. Because sometimes, the most powerful story is not the one in the spotlight, but the one standing quietly in the background. And that makes his presence one of the most overlooked parts of the entire Friends universe. Because sometimes, the most powerful story is not the one in the spotlight, but the one standing quietly in the background. Friends was never just about 6 people in an apartment. It was about time, change, and how life moves forward, even when memories stay behind. If you grew up watching this show, you were not just a viewer. You were part of that world. And if you want more real, behind-the-scenes stories like this, subscribe to Screen Rewind. Because next time, we're going deeper into stories that TV never fully told. And trust me, you won't see them the same way again.